Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Wendy Lee, and joining me in studio today is WWE host and announcer Mike Rome. Hi Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Whoa, that's so crazy.
Confetti, imaginary confetti.
I was promised confetti. This is.
Next time I'll bring some little popper.
We can put that in after.
They're asking you, shall we see?
Yes. Something like digital confetti effects. I love it.
That's amazing. So you've been a part of the WWE for 4 years.
Yeah, almost 4 years.
Wow. It's a long time, huh? You're so
old. It's like heavy when you say it like that. I know. It made me feel old.
Old-timer. But you've been a geek for much, much longer.
Yes, since I was a kid.
Since you were a kid.
My dad ushered me into the world of geekdom. He used to take me to the comic shop every couple days, when we'd go to New Comic Day and Free Comic Day, and we were just always there. And he passed on, he was a huge Punisher guy, so he had this, he had every comic that Punisher ever released, all the individual stories, all that, and he's like, one day, son, this will be yours. I was like,
everything the light touches
is your kingdom. Yeah, so I started with that, and then just kind of went from there, and then found my own stuff like Silver Surfer, and then got into Batman and Detective Comics, and once you get a Detective Comics,
it's just a rabbit hole. You've gone down it, and you're not coming back out.
I've been in that rabbit hole for so long.
That's amazing.
I don't even know where the line is anymore.
You don't want to go into the lane. Okay. It's okay. You don't need to. So you have, by the way, the coolest dad ever introduced you into comics like The Punisher. Do you have a favorite in your geekdom/fandom?
Comic book wise?
Any. It could be movies, it could be comics. There are no rules.
I think I have to go with Batman. Batman's my dude.
Yeah.
I gotta go with the Batman. Detective Comics was just one. I remember my dad was super. It's funny because he's like, yeah, read Punisher, but then he's weird about Detective Comics. No, it's cool. All these people are getting shut up and stuff, but Detective Comics is a little risky.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was really cool how he used his detective skills to find stuff. He didn't have superpowers, but he was such a badass. He was you wanted to be Bruce Wayne, but you also wanted to be Batman. You wanted to be on both sides of it.
You want to have the money, and then you want to have a cool Batcave.
The money and the power, and the power. So he's just, Batman was such a badass to me, and I just, I always dug into those comics. So that was always my go-to. And every version of it I've loved. I love Batman Beyond too. That's my favorite now, but Batman is hands down my favorite.
Hands down the favorite, OG. Favorite. So I see that you have some tattoos on your arms. I see the Batman. I see the Losers Club.
Yes.
So how else do you celebrate your geekdom?
I'm actually, it's funny, this whole arm pretty soon, I think in November, is going to be a comic book sleeve, actually. And I'm designing it out right now. It's going to have just the most random stuff in there. So there's going to be some Marvel stuff, some DC stuff. Beetlejuice is going to be in there. There's going to be classic monsters, all the there's going to be some Power Ranger stuff. It's going to be the biggest cluster of a tattoo ever.
It's going to be the best tattoo ever. You're going to have to come
People are going to be like, what is wrong with you?
No, I hope not. Well, if they're saying that, don't be friends with them.
Besides that, I actually I've been collecting just random stuff for so long between conventions and just buying stuff online and spending just too much money.
I agree.
So I have an office just stacked with statues and the things that I've been collecting, and it's my Sanctum Sanctorum. It's my place of peace. It's my favorite place to go into. So whenever things are crazy, I'm on the road, I go home, I go into my office, and I'm like
sanctuary.
This is where I am.
Your
Yeah, it's great.
State.
It's my favorite.
I love it. When did you start collecting?
Technically when I was a little kid, but no lie, my first actual statue piece was a Sideshow collectible X-23. It was
yes,
yay big, and I had this X statue, and I was a huge X-23 person because I love Wolverine, but I don't know, there's something about having a more vicious female version of him that was just
What pose is she in?
This is awesome. She's kind of like this, yeah. She's just standing like a badass. She's not really doing anything, but you don't want to mess with her.
Yeah.
You look at her, you're like, all right, I'm gonna mess with her.
I wouldn't want to get in a cat fight with that one.
That was the first piece, and then that was the Band-Aid just kind of got ripped off, and then I'm collecting.
And then
stuff
it's
here
comics,
and
you're down the rabbit hole again, but with
figures and this stuff, and now the room is. I need another room.
Well, currently, do you have a favorite piece?
I do. It's actually this. I just picked it up recently. It's a White Ranger bust. It's I don't know. It's like this big. It's like per scale, but it's full on, man. It's my favorite piece. It's sitting like right in the middle of my office. It's like, oh.
You just build around it.
I did actually. I moved everything.
Aesthetically.
I was like, oh, my room's. This is exactly. Nope. Got to make room. That thing came in. I remember the box came, and I was like, I love you.
It
was so good.
Single tear.
My girlfriend's like, why are you hugging that statue? I'm like, shh, I need a moment. It's so good. I actually just, I was just down in Miami. Jason David Frank, the guy who played, I was telling him about it. I was like, yeah, it's my go-to piece. And then he's like, I hadn't seen it yet. And then I guess somebody brought one to the convention I just went down to and like had him sign it.
Amazing.
He's like, dude, it is awesome. It's so cool. He is super nice.
Super nice guy. So are you more like Green Ranger or are you more like aesthetic of the White Ranger?
Ooh, Green Ranger.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you gotta go the OG.
dinosaur.
Yeah, and he beat everybody's ass.
Yeah.
Like that was like the most shocking thing ever. Like he jumps in the Megazord, takes everybody out.
Yep.
You're like,
okay.
this dude's awesome.
Tommy's
New
the
kid in
best.
town.
Yeah.
No friends, beating everybody up. I like him.
Yeah.
I always lean towards the characters though that have like that. I don't know, that like almost like dark side.
Because of how he started when he was
Yeah.
like under Rita's spell and all of that, so it's kind of like he infiltrated the Power Rangers, you know what I mean? You hated him, but then you loved him because Kimberly
like, oh,
loved
he's
him.
so good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, he was my favorite. Like I remember the first time I saw him there, I'm like, this dude is the man.
Yeah, he still is. I still
He is
haven't
still
found
the
like a
man.
Power Ranger that's
No.
like
And he came back. He was the only one to come back and actually get another Ranger series.
Wait, what?
He came back in Dino Thunder.
I have not
He's the
watched
Black
it.
Ranger. Now you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
They did this whole like thing where he was like Dr. Tommy Oliver and like did this and he gets this thing.
Interesting.
But he disappears halfway through the episode and they do this whole like span of how he's the OG Ranger and he's been more like you're just like, wow, he really is a badass.
Yeah. If they were to make a sequel to the Power Ranger movie that we got, I think a couple of years ago, would you want to see a new person playing Tommy or would you want Jason to come back? Because
no,
he kind of did a slight cameo in that one, him and Kimberly did.
yeah, I think so. I don't know. This is something I always like battle with people. Like I had my time frame. Like we had our time frame growing up to see our fandoms be what they were.
Mm-hmm.
But like now it's a different time. It's newer people are being introduced to it. So like I don't think it should be the original people. I love having them a part of it, but I think it should be somebody new and it should be a different take on it because. I mean, it's a different time now.
It is a
like
different
people
time.
hold on to things and like it's not the way I remember it. And it's like, yeah, but you had that. Like,
I fall victim
that was
to that
yours.
sometimes. Yeah, a little bit.
I do in some
a little
things.
Bit, yeah.
Some things, but most of the time I'm like, no, let's bring it on. Let's
Why
see what
not?
you got.
New generation. Because you know what? If it doesn't work for you, you still have the original you can fall back to, right?
Yeah, I think it would be awesome if it was a woman too. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I think whatever they come up with, as long as they put some thought behind it, and whoever's directing it or behind it just has a passion for it,
Yeah.
I'm all in.
That's well said. I love that.
I love it. I mean,
So you just met Jason at a convention. Is there someone that you've ever met within the geekdom that you're just like, oh my god, I'm totally geeking out right now, but I'm trying not to show it? Or you do. You do you.
yeah, there's two. So there's two. One of them I'm not proud of.
It's okay.
I mean, I am proud of it, but I'm not proud of it. It
you
was.
tell me your story and I'll tell you mine.
All right. So the first one was Jim Carrey. That was a huge one for me. Like I think I stammered through the whole thing, and this was like forever ago. Like this is, I want to say this was almost like 20 years ago. This is a while ago. Like mask era.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, got a thing signed, and I don't think I got words out. I'm so sorry. I was like,
if you met him again today, would you make it?
I don't know. He was somebody that I watched so much, and I emulated, and I like made faces in the mirror and did all this stuff. So when I actually saw him in real life, I'd worked up, and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna say. This is how it's gonna happen. And then I walked up, and nothing came out. So that was the one that was probably the most embarrassing for me. During my second one was actually WrestleMania in New York. I went to go see Beetlejuice on Broadway.
Whoa.
And Alex Brightman, the guy who plays Beetlejuice there, was like, hey, come on stage and like hang out and see the set and everything and talk to me afterwards. I was like, cool. So I come up and I'm like standing there and standing with my girlfriend and I'm like, oh, this set's so cool. Like, this is great. And I'm a huge Beetlejuice guy. And I'm like, this is great. And I look over and Mark Summers from Double Dare, the host of Double Dare, is there.
Stop.
So I worked for Nickelodeon for years and years and years, and I never, ever, ever crossed over with him like that. I never had a conversation. Like, I always wanted to meet him. I was in the office, and then he was in the office a week later. Like, we would never crossed over. And I got into hosting and stuff because of him. Like, he was like the whole thing.
Amazing.
And so I was like, Alex comes over, I'm like, it's Mark Summers. Like, oh yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Introduces me, and I like have this full on like, I love you, Mark Summers, and I love Double Dare, and I watch it. Like, I think I ramble with my girlfriend's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
She's like, who are you?
I'm being cool, right? This is I love you so much, Mark Summers. So yeah, I apparently I don't handle certain things from my childhood very well.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey and Mark Summers were my two. Everybody else, I'm like, yeah, cool. It's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, cool, nice to meet you. You're like, okay, you're composed with these two.
Yeah.
How well do you think you do in Double Dare? Did you crush it?
I was on Double Dare as a kid. True story. And I did okay.
Okay.
But I was on Family Double Dare.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So had you been solo,
I feel like I would have made
you would
it
have
all the
crushed
way
it.
through.
Yeah, I think you would have crushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was carrying the weight of my team on there.
You're like, Mom, Dad, how do you
Sorry,
not
Mom and
know
Dad.
this? You failed me and you did it today and I still remember it.
That's right. You ruined everything. The Huffy bike was mine.
Oh God. I also love that, like, was it Temple of Doom or something like that?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
was Temple Run
Legends
or
of
whatever.
the Hidden
Legends,
Temple.
thank you. I feel like
Kurt
I could
Fogg.
always do really well on it until I'm really clumsy, so I probably would
Have you ever
hate it.
heard the stories of the kids that were on there?
No.
So when I worked for Nickelodeon, a lot of the guys that were on tour with me, they played temple guards there. And there's actually this huge thing online about people who were kids at that time, and they said, you come to the set and you get to see the temple for like maybe 5 minutes. They show it to you. You have to remember everything, and then you disappear, and you never see the temple guards. And then they shut the lights off, so when you're actually in there, it's dark, and you're climbing, you don't know where you're going, you're trying to remember it. And these kids like tell these horror stories about climbing and then turning around, a temple guard being right there and grabbing them and taking them into the thing.
Traumatic.
Because they don't ever rehearse that stuff. So
Well,
it's like
because
a
it
whole
takes
thing
away
online.
from their
Yeah.
reaction, which is great.
But knowing that now, like thinking back, just that little kid, like, I'm gonna get it. It's
It's giving me anxiety a little bit, like, to hear about that.
It's
Like, maybe I
awesome.
wouldn't have wanted
I
to
wish
go
I could have
on
been
the
on that show.
You turn around and punch him out. You're like, ah!
My life changed when the temple guard took me. Oh, God. Yeah, that show was awesome. There was so
Yeah.
many cool shows back then.
I know. Ugh, only to be a kid again.
Yeah.
And they're bringing all that back and everything.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
New cast and all. So on the flip side of that question I just asked you, has there anyone geeked out when they met you, like a pop icon? Like, oh my God, Micro!
No.
And then they're like, I can't speak.
Nah, no, not like that. But hopefully one day, one day, I just meet somebody and they're like, oh my gosh.
Do you have any fan experiences that's like, you're just kind of like, wow, I'm that much to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some cool stuff. What's funny is I think at the time when it happened, it was like 2 years into WWE. Like, I'd only been there for like 2 years, and I had gone to this random, like, we were doing TV in Boston, and I think we went to this con that was there, because I was like, oh, I have a day off, let me do it. So I'm like walking around this con, and these two girls come up to me, and they're like, hey. And I was like, hey. And they're like, we have a question for you. And I'm like, okay, shoot. And they're like, did you host a celebration of Harry Potter at Universal Studios? And I was like, yes, I did. That is so random. Because at the time I'd been on TV for WWE for 2 years.
Right.
And then
They
these people
recognize
recognized me
you from
from
Harry
this
Potter.
live event that we did over at Universal Studios like years earlier. It
Wow.
was so random. I was like, huh? That's so weird.
And was that Orlando or Hollywood?
That was the event was in Orlando, but I think I was in Boston when that went down.
Got it.
It was like
The Potterheads, man, they watch and they never forget.
Yeah,
they're
they're
probably
everywhere.
Hufflepuffs. They found you like that?
probably
Yeah. What house are you in? Pop quiz.
Slytherin.
Yes, I knew. Was that Sam or was that Josh? Sam is a Slytherin.
I'm a Slytherin as well.
Slytherin. Wait, how many Slytherins do we have here?
Yeah,
Mike, Sam,
I
and-
like this room.
We have any Ravenclaws? Come on. Gryffindors.
Ah,
All right, well,
I like this. I feel good in this room. now.
surrounded by
Feel at home.
Slytherins. Well, I don't
Yeah,
know
they
how much longer
actually-
this interview can go, guys.
They made me at the celebration. They had just Pottermore was there. They made me take my quiz like live on the stage. Yeah,
That's
so I was like
it's a long
super
quiz.
nerve-wracking. I was like, and they're like,
Don't-
oh, you chose that one, and I was like, is that bad? Was I not supposed to? Like I second guessed everything.
Don't mess it up. And
I
they
know.
switch you into a different house, and they like announce it like Mike Rome, Hufflepuff, and you're like, I'm really Slytherin. There's nothing wrong with Hufflepuffs. I'm not trying to shame Hufflepuffs. I'm just saying like,
Hufflepuff shaming.
No. I have friends who are Hufflepuffs, so they will kill me.
Well, dude, it's weird too because they ask you ahead of time, like, what do you think you are? And I was like, oh, I think I'm a Slytherin. And they're like, we'll see.
See, that's the thing is
and
everybody
like,
kind of
what if
knows.
I'm not? Like, what if I take this quiz and then I'm out there and I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm a Slytherin, and then all of a sudden I take it and they're like, Hufflepuff, and everybody's like, boo,
fake.
Oh.
Fake Slytherin.
Oh.
Did you do like your Patronus and your wand too?
No.
No.
I didn't.
I was disappointed by my Patronus.
What was it?
Aardvark. Exactly. I was like,
oh,
what the heck?
the intimidating aardvark. Rage! Yeah, I didn't go that
got
far.
like the eagle. I was like, he's like, what'd you get? I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
You're like, I got the
I'm taking a new one.
aardvark, yeah. You're like, beware my intimidating aardvark.
Expecto Patronum.
Yeah,
man.
no, I didn't go that far into it, but I did the house sorting. I was stoked.
Yeah.
Put my cards down and walked away. I was like, nothing good comes from here after this. I got
and
what
plus
I
you're in front
wanted.
of everybody, so you're like, you don't want to keep going. Those quizzes are long.
Super nerve-wracking.
And the Patronus one, it's quick. You have certain amount of time to do it, and then it changes on you, and you miss it, and then your whole. That's what happened to me because I didn't pay attention. So they awarded me with the aardvark.
Excuses.
No, well.
Excuses.
Well, speaking of
what had happened
was that I didn't look at the computer, and then I got an aardvark. So, speaking of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, do you have any pop culture moments where you're so immersed in the fandom that you just cried tears of happiness?
Yeah, I feel like there's 2 times that's happened. One of them was actually at Harry Potter. So the first time I got hired to host a celebration, I'd seen the movies and I'd read a couple of the books, but I wasn't as fully immersed in it as everybody going. So I took a lot of time, and before I was like, I don't want to host this thing and not know. I don't want to be the least knowledgeable person out there.
When you were the face.
Yeah, so like I made sure that I learned everything, and through that process, I met all these Harry Potter fans and the people who had they just seeing it through their eyes, like going to Diagon Alley and going to Hogsmeade and like just experiencing it through somebody else, a different fandom, was just such a cool experience because. I was so like Marvel, DC, like comic books is my thing, and I love this and whatever. And then getting to get ushered into the fans over there and seeing a different experience made me love that even more. So it was really cool to see just how they embrace people and how they bring them in. And I will never, like, it was just such a cool thing. Like, I will always be a Harry Potter fan because of that.
Aww.
And I got to meet the cast, and they were super cool and just, like, talking stories. Yeah, so basically what it was is we interviewed the cast, and we did this whole thing, and it was fun. It was really cool.
I'm so jealous right now.
The other time is Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge.
Let's talk about Galaxy's Edge, because you went and I went. And I cried. And I had to
Full-on
stop
man
myself.
Tears.
Like,
full-on man tears.
right? It's really here. It's real.
I did, so many people had gone and, like, given me advice, and so I'm, like, trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And I get there, and so I get in line for my lightsaber thing, and then my girlfriend goes over to the
Savvy's
cantina.
workshop?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, we got it. So I got my pass, and then she got into the cantina, but they didn't give her a reservation. She got right in, and they wouldn't let me in. And I was like, oh no, I failed. I didn't do it. What did I do? I got back in line, and then I ended up getting a reservation for it. So I got back into that. But so I did the lightsaber thing, and that process, like I was like, this is a kiddie process. I've done the wand selection, Harry Potter, whatever.
It's so much more.
Man, I was sitting there, and like Yoda comes on, and he's like talking to you, and I'm like, I'm fine, whatever. You're crying, I'm not crying.
Who's cutting onions?
So I'm like fighting back, like he's talking about all this, and my lightsaber, and you pull it up, and the music hits, and it's just like, okay, I'm good. And my girlfriend's just like looking at me like, and she's streaming live at this point, like she's streaming live, so I'm like,
my gosh.
It's weird, it's like dust from the thing, and it got in my eye. So I walked out, and I turned the corner, and just there in like full scale is the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
And I I lost it. Yeah, that's when I like.
There's no recovery from seeing that.
Like you go from that just straight into that, and she's over here like videotaping stuff, and she has no idea. And I just stopped dead in my tracks, and I'm just taking it in, and the music and like all this stuff is playing, and I'm like I shed, and so she's like talking about something. She comes back over, and I was like, and she goes, oh, she like takes it off of me because I was like, she had no idea that I like totally had this moment. She like ends it, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm okay. And it's so crazy to like, I don't know, man, like to see something that you grew up with, something that you had like invested so much time and effort into, and you know, as a kid, you wanted to be Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader or whatever side you landed on, and like, you know, I've had lightsabers forever, and like being a kid, like that stuff wasn't cool when I was a kid, you know, like we're so fortunate now to be in a time where nerd culture is cool, man. Like
it's cool to be a nerd.
I remember, you know, you get picked on as, you know, as a kid, liking that stuff. So like seeing it come to fruition and seeing this thing, and you know, getting to see the ship that made the Kessel Run, you know, it's like, this is so amazing. So I broke down, and I think the rest of the time there, I was just in awe, and I'm like walking through like the village, and I go over to the rebel base, and like Chewie, I'm like walking through, and like Chewie stops because I had my Han Solo shirt, and he like gives me a hug, and I was like, this is the greatest day ever.
I never want to leave.
I had 4 hours there.
Oh, so you went during the reservation like I did.
I was dying. I was like, I just want to stay. I want to stay here. It was so awesome. Just to like live in it, and it's cool because like it took me back to like watching, you know, the Potter fans live through Diagon Alley and seeing that stuff, and that was like what it was for me at Star Wars, just seeing that. I'm like,
I agree. I feel like both of what they did, and it's two very different IPs, and I think what they've done with both in the parks is you don't want it to come off as like a cheesy cash grab thing. You want to be in world, and you want to see these books or movies come to life, and they've really done a really good job, especially at Disney, where you don't even feel like you're at Disneyland.
No.
At all. It's like I'm somewhere else. And you come back out, you're like, where was I?
Yeah.
Like in a whole different time lapse, some sort of loophole thing.
The only thing I would say that I wish it had some. It's such a like it's a different part like Batu, and like it's a whole like different system. Like I wish that it was something that we knew, like something from the movies.
Yeah.
And I know why they didn't do that, because then they have to continuity and like keep up with that stuff, and it's easier that they can control the IP if it's like over there. But it's I still felt things like it would have been even crazier if you were somewhere like all of a sudden you're on Hoth, and you're like,
oh my gosh,
I'm freezing to death, and this is great.
If they just like erased the rest of Disneyland and just made it
I'm
each
cool
land,
with
I mean,
that.
like I love Disney. They can just
half
have
Marvel,
another land,
half Star Wars, sold.
And you can have like Hoth.
I'm sold.
Endor.
Give me like Avengers Tower and then Hoth like across the way. I'm there.
Done.
I'm in. I actually passed it. Like said, I saw the wall that says like Stark Industries, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it's a
and
whole
then they
thing.
announced that they're doing a whole thing there, and I was like, I guess I'm going back to
be there day
Disneyland.
one?
Yes. I will plan my trip like as many years ahead of time as I possibly can.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
there.
I mean, I love theme parks, and you and I kind of have a history of our own
That's
in
true.
theme parks. We're like
Coast to
Universal
coast.
Studios buddy.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast, Universal Studios Hollywood and Orlando. I did all the fuzzy stuff, all the 5-2 characters, and a little bit of Grinchmas stuff. What did you get to do at Universal?
Everything. Grinch, Beetlejuice, Frankenstein, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh my gosh.
Hosted Fear Factor over there. Did Transformers.
Wow.
Did Jack the Clown at Halloween Horror Nights.
Everything.
I've done a
You're
lot
a
of stuff
veteran.
there. Yeah, I used to do the Bill and Ted show over there. All
Do they
kinds of
still
stuff.
have that?
No.
They took it away. Yeah, I remember they took it away for, I know, R.I.P. That was, I loved it.
But we're getting a new movie, so that's cool.
This is true. Like, maybe they'll bring it back. Maybe they'll bring it back in honor of Bill and Ted 3.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. That show is always really cool because like you would do that show for an entire run, and you're doing 8 shows a day, and it's this comedy show that based on these characters that hadn't done anything in like, I don't know, 20 something years almost.
Yeah.
But people loved it so much, and they would learn all your lines. So like every day I would change like 2 or 3 of my lines just to mess with the audience because they wanted to learn it. And then by the last show, like the finale show we did at the end of the run, the entire audience would be yelling out every character's lines.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane.
Amazing.
It was insane.
Amazing. What an experience.
Yeah.
And you're also a world traveler too. We were also talking right
everywhere.
before this interview. Like, we have Japan to talk about.
Yes.
You went to Japan. Let's talk a little bit about Tokyo Disney, because you and I both went.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
I only have one more Disney left, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I've been to every single
Really?
Disney. Yeah,
Shanghai, Paris. How was Shanghai? I know we're like veering off a little bit, but
Shanghai was awesome. It's huge.
Really?
It's huge. It's very spread out. So I got to do the Marvel Expo over there. I rode Pirates, which hands down, if anybody says that the best Pirates is anywhere but Shanghai, they're wrong. They're wrong. The best original is in California,
yes,
hands
agreed.
down.
I mean, I haven't
Hands
been to the
down.
Shanghai one, but agreed.
Hands down, California. However, Shanghai, like, it's insane. Like, insane animatronics in there. There's you go by these ships with these full 4K screens, and like you see Jack Sparrow walking through the ship, and like you go into the broken ship, you go under the water. Like, it is insane. Like, it's a totally different ride.
Wow.
Yeah, it's if I
need
had
to go.
time, usually when I fly in somewhere, we have a show, so I've got 3 or 4 hours to cram everything in. So I only get to ride it once, but it was insane.
That's kind of impressive, being able to cram everything that you want to do in 3 hours.
That's
'Cause
my
you know
MO
the-
now.
the-
That's what I do. They're like, oh, you're landing somewhere.
That could
There's
be
a
your new
Disney. Are you
tagline.
going there? I've been to every Disney and Universal I've been to every Universal until they opened the one in Beijing, and then every Disney except for the one in Hong Kong.
Wow. We
coming
could
for
give
you,
you like a
Hong
little
Kong.
passport of like all the theme parks and stamp them out.
They should.
They should.
They should.
Why
Tokyo,
not?
I'll tell you what, DisneySea is my favorite
Yeah.
Disney park as a whole. Even though technically it's not really like a Disney park, like it's owned by a different company.
Yeah,
so
it's like leased out, and I think that's why they need to do it better.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
the
literally
merchandise
like,
is super cute. The
hey,
food's
let's
super
take
cute.
all the things that work in every other theme park and cram it into this one theme park and then slap Disney on it.
Yeah.
It's like Universal and Six Flags and all the theme parks in Abu Dhabi and Disney all got together and just had this awesome baby. And then
we
there
call
is,
it Tokyo DisneySea.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You had a funny little story about your favorite ride at Tokyo DisneySea.
Oh yeah. So last time I went, I did 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which was awesome.
I didn't get to go. It was closed.
You didn't get to ride it?
No, it was closed. I have to go. That just means I have to go back to Japan.
Amateur hour.
But next time we'll go together, and then we'll just do the micro tour.
Done
And
deal.
you know, you can just like, we have 3 hours. Just take me through everything.
Done. I can do that. Gonna get fast passes. I got you. Don't worry about it. But this time I got to ride Journey to the Center of the Earth, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's the best ride ever! It's the best ride ever! You got to ride it." So I was like, "Okay, cool." And so you get on it, and it's very slow in the beginning, like, and you're kind of just going through the layers of Earth, and it's like, "Oh, okay, cool." It's almost like the mine train, like the Seven Dwarfs mine train.
Yeah.
And so you're like riding that, and there's this kid in front of me, and he's like, you know, like when you get to that age where nothing impresses you, and he's just like, and he's like hitting his mom. He's like, "This is stupid. Like, I don't like this." And I was like, man, I mean, it's not that bad, whatever. But it's like, it's such a slow buildup. Like, you know, you're just going, and you're like, okay, is this gonna do something? I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And, you know, like, all of a sudden you start to get to this part where things start to get crazy, and like, you're in a volcano, so like anything can happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this huge rock monster comes out of nowhere, like from the core of the center of the planet, and you're just like, what is happening? He's like, "Rrr," and the kid's like, "Wah!" The kid like goes from being like totally unimpressed to totally screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yes.
And then it shoots you like a bat out of hell through the layers back up to the top, and
Yeah.
it shoots you out of the volcano and down.
Amazing.
And so we're sitting there, and this kid's like, "Ah! Ah!" And he screams, and I can see his tears
You had a front row
flying.
seat to this
Oh, I was
reaction.
right behind him. I can see the tears flying, and this kid is crying so hard. Goes to the top, we go to the side, and he's like, "Ah!" And he starts hitting his mom, and he's like mad at her, and she's like, and she just gets off, like completely no-sells
like,
him.
"Percy,
And he's like,
let's go."
"That was the greatest thing I've ever." Oh, so good. That was my favorite part of the ride.
That's amazing.
Your ride experience may differ, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, if only we could have a screaming kid in
Yeah.
such a sense on every
Listen,
ride.
if they could just plant one and every ride I'm on, I'm totally there, because that made my
just
ride.
ride it all day
Just the
long.
fact that he hated on everything, like he was not impressed,
Right.
and then all of a sudden that rock monster, and then things got real for him. He's like, his life flashed before his eyes. He's like, I mean, I literally saw tears
Like flying back at you.
because he's like,
It does go really fast at
Yeah,
the end.
it
'cause
shoots you
I
real
kind of had
fast.
the same thought, but I was so impressed with what was happening at Tokyo DisneySea and on this ride. I was like, wow, look at this. And then I wasn't prepared. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going. and then we rode it again because we had lined up for the fast pass, and then it was like 5 minutes, so we went on.
Oh yeah, you got to do that.
And then we came back later, and also I think Pooh's Honey Hunt over at Disneyland.
Yeah,
Did you miss
I planned very poorly for that one. Yeah.
Okay, so when we all go back together,
done deal.
You'll take me to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We'll go get some popcorn. We'll hop on the honey hunt.
I will tell you that you're not like. I literally had no idea what was going on in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Why?
Just because it didn't. The story didn't make any sense to me.
Is it not like the one that they had at Disneyland?
No, it's not at all. It's a very different ride, and it didn't make any sense to me. And I've actually read the book, and I'm like, I don't know what is happening right now.
But I like it.
But
anyways.
I like it. Like. It was just so strange, and it was very intense. Like it was, like all the all voiceovers.
Japanese,
yeah, it's just so intense. You're like, oh, I don't know what's happening, but it doesn't sound good.
We're in trouble.
There's a photo of my friend Alexa Bliss, who's a wrestler, and myself. The very first time I went to Tokyo DisneySea, we rode the Monsters Inc. ride, and it's this little flashlight thing, and you're supposed to shine it. We had no idea what was going on, so I guess it took a photo of us, and we were like. There's legitimately a photo of us. I'll have to find it and show it to you.
It?
Yeah, because we look like we have no idea what, like stupid Americans. These guys have no idea what's going on. We're just sitting here like.
They don't explain to you.
No. It just said something about a light, and so we're like. And then obviously you just see a flash, and you're like. So we almost look like the Scooby Gang, like walking along, like creeping on, like something's gonna go wrong here, Scoob. Like you don't know what's happening. Like
amazing.
We just look completely out of our minds. That's great.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Such fun stories, Mike. I could talk to you for hours, but we're gonna have to wrap this up. So let us know. Well, two things. I have two questions for you.
Okay.
One, because you are a collector, do you have any tips and tricks for anyone that's starting to collect? People are maybe a little intimidated to start.
I think now I've noticed that they make things smaller and smaller and smaller. Like I feel like one time that you could like everything was just massive. Mm-hmm. Like everybody has this perception that everything's so expensive. Like I don't know where to jump in because this thing is too expensive. But like most everything, like the Sideshow stuff, like you can do monthly payments on that. Mm-hmm. Or now they make those like smaller like PVC like statues are like this big and they look super cool.
Yeah,
it's a great place to start. Like action figures, anything like. Posters, like anything.
Posters, comic books.
Start somewhere. Like once you rip the Band-Aid off, it's easy. But like it can be overwhelming in the beginning. But once you go, don't worry, you'll spend lots of money.
Nice. That's how I feel every day.
One way or the other, you're gonna spend lots of money.
And tell everybody at home what you're promoting currently. What are you up to?
A lot of random stuff that I can't. Monday Night Raw. You can check it out on the USA Network. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but I can't really talk about it right now. So just follow Instagram and
where can I find
Along with Adventures. Mike Rome, WWE on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm on there, and you'll see me every Monday night on the USA Network. Monday Night Raw.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out and talk all the nerdy stuff with me.
Thanks for having me.
We're probably going to talk for hours about all the parks.
Absolutely.
And you have to come back when your sleeve is done.
Yes, done.
You have to, we'll do a Sideshow and Tell with you. Then we'll just go through all the little
You're going to be like, yeah, you're right. That is a cluster.
And it is okay.
How did you come up with that? I went and I took it to the tattoo artist, and she goes, huh.
How long do you think it'll take you?
It should start in November. It should be done in January, just because of my schedule. It's going to be a little.
That's not that long, actually, considering
January,
full
February,
color, full sleeve.
Full color, full sleeve. Yeah.
I only have two. I can't imagine because just after the two that I had, I wanted more immediately.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a couple more between then. I think I'm doing like a Marvel and a DC.
Because they can coexist in the same space, guys.
Everybody decide Marvel or DC, both.
You can love both.
At me. I don't care. I like them all.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, don't.
I like Star Wars and Star Trek. It can happen.
Mic drop. And with that, we're going to wrap up this interview with Mike Rome. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.